The following is a commentary by attorney-author Andrew Shatkin. The essay that I present to the public here is Who Reads the Bible and Why? The essay and these topics can be found in my book, Essays on the Christian Worldview and Others, Political, Literary, and Philosophical, published by Hamilton Books. I here present to the public Who Reads the Bible and Why, taken from the book I just mentioned and modified. The Bible is a very old document. In fact, it is an ancient book. Some of it dates back to 1500 BC in its present written form. It consists of the Hebrew Scriptures, or Old Testament, which claims to be God's covenant and dealings with the people of Israel. The New Testament is the narrative of the life of Jesus of Nazareth, his death and resurrection, message, deeds, and sayings, as well a number of letters and documents tracing the growth and history of the early church in the book of Acts and the development of a Christian doctrine, particularly in the Pauline Epistles. For a long time, particularly for English-speaking Protestants, and more particularly in America, the Bible was the most important and widely read of books well into the conclusion of the 19th century, particularly in the form of the Authorized or King James Version of the Bible of 1611. Sad to say, this is no longer the case. The Bible, at the present time, is read, at least in the Western world of Europe, Canada, Australia, and New Zealand, by a minority. This is not surprising in light of the scientific, medical, technological, and economic progress and growth that offer people a level of comfort and prosperity in this life that mutes the offer of eternal life through Christ, which the Bible offers. Who then reads the Bible, and why? There is one group, and this is by far the largest in this modern age and society, that either do not know of the Bible or have no interest in reading it. They may be said to be indifferent to the Bible. In fact, this group are indifferent to most old books and literature, whether Homer, Shakespeare, Spenser, the Greek tragedy of Achilles, Euripides, and Sophocles, or even Jane Austen and Charles Dickens. Their lives are blissful and happy, albeit uninformed. Their ideas, principles, and guiding thoughts, if they exist, result and come from some sort of osmosis or process of absorption from what the media, computers, and television may offer them. If they are offered some sort of unlimited sexual freedom, they may take hold of it. If they are offered the materialism of our capitalist system, they may take this as a model, giving no thought or concern that avarice and the acquisition of material goods are hardly guiding life principles or role models. The idea that there is anything in them that is wrong and that requires repair, intervention, or fixing by an eternal God, or, in fact, that their lives are empty and that they are failed beings and not autonomous but dependent creatures, never occurs to them. They are content to spend their lives getting as much sex and money as they can get, little knowing or caring that eternity awaits them. How can, to those persons, a book of apparent silly myths have any relevance to their latest purchase of a Lexus, their meal in an expensive restaurant, or their outing with a beautiful woman with whom they are about to entertain themselves? This is the first group. The second group are those who read the Bible as a work of literature, particularly in the form of the Authorized Version of 1611. They are a very thin minority. It is true that the Bible contains much great prose and poetry. Indeed, I would challenge anyone to tell me which they would soon grow tired of, the Psalms in their English translation or Plato in an English translation. Most people who read the Bible as literature might read it in a college or graduate level course. In fact, there are very few people who read and regard the Bible as literature. I think this is so because the Bible as a book was not meant to be literature, but a revelation of God's intervention and acts in human history, and more ultimately, a guide and advisement of how we should live our lives ethically and morally, and, most importantly, of how we may obtain eternal life through faith in the crucified and risen Jesus Christ. In short, I think, the Bible is little read as literature because it is not meant to be literature. Now we come to the third group. This is by far the largest group of Bible readers. These persons read the Bible as the revelation by God as how they should live and what they should believe to be true about lasting, ultimate, and important things. These people read the Bible to find out what life means, how and what they should believe, and what they may be able to attain in the end, as human beings. The Bible must always be read by persons, whoever, wherever, and whatever they are, whether in Africa, China, India, or the United States, or England or Germany, as the revelation by God concerning His covenant with the Jewish people and His new covenant of Jesus Christ, concerning what we should do in this life, what we should believe about God, and how we may come to eternal life and glory in the company of righteous, loving persons in continued love and relationship with the true God and those who have chosen to be with Him in paradise. The only reason to read the Bible, this group rightly concludes, is because it's true and will always and forever supersede any temporary truth, or better put, whatever happens to be faddish or fashionable. The works, acts, and sayings of Jesus Christ offer us eternal life. His ethics are a higher ethic that have never been stated and that none of us will ever be able to attain. He counsels us to moral perfection, to love our neighbors as ourselves, to give away our riches and material goods and embrace poverty. He tells us that to look at a woman with lust is to commit adultery, and that if our eye offends us, to pluck it out. We are told not to judge others. No Greek thinker, Plato or Aristotle, said or offered anything close to this in their system of thought. The Bible will always be read by those who wish to know and understand ultimate truth about who we are, what we should do with our lives, and where we are going. This minority of Bible readers, however large or small, will read the Bible for what it is meant to be, not as literature and not as an old and irrelevant book, hardly competition for the internet or cable television, but for what it is, the sum of the revelation from the eternal God to a failed, broken, twisted, and misdirected humanity in need of restoration and regeneration. In a word, salvation.